Hi everybody, welcome back. I haven't been doing too much recently, but I thought I'd just talk you through a couple of things here. I'm at the track laying stage on this very small shelf layout that you saw me starting to talk about on my last video update. Thanks for the nice comments received after last video. It was really good. One comment in particular as well about not setting the track completely straight, but actually at an angle. That was a really good point, and certainly having the track coming in at just a slight angle rather than completely 90 degrees to the length of wood does sort of make layouts look better. So thank you for that. So I haven't really done much. I gave this another coat of the varnish, this piece of wood. I've got my track laid out again, roughly ready to go. I have glued in place this small piece of set track and this electrofrog point. I just put some PVA glue down, and that's nicely in place. You can see that I have laid cork along most of the rest of the wood, ready to go. In terms of power into the track, I prefer to use these where possible. So these are the pre-soldered joiners, Pico PL82. I find them really easy to use. So on this piece of set track here, I've replaced the joiners that were there with obviously a black and a red power feed joiner, and that's ready to put the piece of track in here. And then obviously I'll be drilling those into the baseboard to cover up the wire. So the way this layout's going to go is this will be here where my hand is. That'll be a scenic break, so this bit won't be seen, this small bit over here on the left hand side. I'm going to be using a mix of set track and flexi track to build this small section of track. I do have to say set track is so much easier to use. I'm sure most people agree. Flexi track is great for long sections and very small curves, but it does come with its own limitations. One thing I do find is if you look at this small piece of flexi track I've got here, this is the end of a piece of flexi track. Now the ends there are nice and neat, if you can see that on the camera. If I flip it over to the other side, this is where I previously cut it. Now I do have the correct cutters, which are the Xerox cutters, but even so, the cut, it doesn't come through neatly at all, and really I don't think they work for me. So obviously then trying to push these track ends into rail joiners becomes sort of really difficult. So I think the best way to cut flexi track is to actually have a decent quality saw, so that it cuts nice and neat, because you can see there on that camera there, that is not a good cut at all, and that's using the proper Xerox cutters as well. So I'll be using this side, and I'm just going to put in place like so. I won't do it one-handed because it's quite difficult, and then I'm going to trim this track off here right to the end. So I'll just put the camera down for a second and do that, and then come back to you in a second. So I'm back now, and I've put in place the flexi track there. What I was saying about flexi track earlier as well is it's quite difficult to often use, and what you often find as well, I find anyway, is that the slightest movement with flexi track and you get these gaps in the joins, which obviously an N gauge makes trains quite rough. So you have to be quite careful to make sure that the joins are really as close as they can be. And as soon as you bend flexi track at all, like if I bend over here, you see with flexi track what happens then is obviously the metal bends with it, and then you get an increasingly bigger gap. So that's one of the reasons why I find flexi track quite tricky to use. So I'll put that in place. I'm going to secure that with a little bit of PVC, put some weights on it, and then for keeping track on the ground, I've got some N gauge pins there. That's one thing I can use, and also I've got my tiny N gauge screws with the screwdriver. So that was a kit I bought off eBay some years ago. That seems to do the trick quite well. The nice thing about the screws is if you don't break them, they come out of course. Set track gives you the small guide holes at each end of a piece of set track. There's one I've not used. Look, just there. Where's my finger? Show it to you there. There's a guide hole there. This piece of set track obviously I've screwed in before, hence why the plastic bar there is so much bigger. But again, flexible track has no guide bars, so you sort of have to make a tiny pilot hole in the plastic sleepers there to be able to put them in place. I quite like the screws, I quite like the pins. There's not really any preference, but equally PVA glue also does the job quite well. This bit of track is quite nicely glued in place onto the cork there. The track laying tools, you'll need to get yourself a couple of bags of extra fish plates for engage, obviously, so that's what I use there. And also when you're mixing between set track and flexi track, you want to have yourself a pack of spare sleepers, but you can also use sleepers you cut yourself off the flexi track if you don't want to buy them. And that's obviously the bit I mentioned earlier for the pre-soldered joints. And then there's the Xerox cutters that I'm using. But as I say, I really do struggle to get a nice neat cut on the track. So if anyone's got any other techniques, let me know. So yeah, not much to show you this time really, just talking through a bit of the track laying. Obviously I'm going to get this glued in place. I'm just going to carry on going down the layout and setting in place the track. So next time I'll show you an update. Hopefully you'll have the track all in place, and that'll be a mixture of, as I said, set track and using the flexi track as well. Thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned next time and I'll show you how it's looking once all the track's been laid. Take care for now. Cheers.